Hello, Pepe here again. So I'm cleaning up the hits, and this is where the cam shaft is attached right here. So what I and it had like cooked oil wherever, some corrosion there. So I put a socket on this red scratch pad, I think it's called. I don't know. Let's see. It's called Paint and Body Scuff 3M. I was taught by a guy to paint cars. They use this for scratching, light scratching, and then cleaning, degreaser, painting. This is what you need basically. I mean, you can do it with 400 sandpaper, but they recommend a lot of this and for machining and transmission and so on. And this leaves a lot of residue compared with the red ones, so I like the red ones better. But anyway, so basically I put it around a socket, fits really well here. Put WD-40 here and then clean it, and you can see it's all very clean. And I'm going to blow up those holes and stuff like that. I mean, the heads they can't really clean from the machine shop, but these areas here, you see that's a little bit of rust there. So basically, I don't know, it's like pitting. So you go over a little bit like this, you see, and it almost disappears. So it's pretty good. It's very easy. It takes 2 seconds. It took me 2 minutes to do this. So now I'm going to read the manual, see what I have to do with the rockers, and then no. I'm going to take the camshaft out, because look at this marvelous job that someone did here. So I need to clean that up and see. I think I have this guy, but there is another one here. I may not have that one, so I may have to order it. That's why I'm doing this right now. Sorry I forgot to do more updates, but basically I went overboard because I'm a car guy that likes detail, and I don't like to leave stuff rusted, painted like this, with some oxidation, stuff like that. So I decided to paint the block and put some clear coat on it. It's so shiny and stuff. And I painted the heads too, although I don't like the color much because it's too shiny. But I think that when it gets hot, it changes a little bit. I think that's how it's going to look like. But after the machine shop, they were all ugly, so I cleaned them up, degreased it a little bit, not much, and covered the holes so that it doesn't paint there. So you should do a better job than me here, because you don't want these surfaces where there's gaskets on it, or they are very tight tolerances to have paint, because the paint will add up a layer on it. So that's a bad idea. So all those surfaces like this and all that I covered. You see this bit tape there anywhere. But so it looks really nice now. It's all cleaned up. And I just bolted this head. So it's all bolted. The manual calls for so this manual, I think I mentioned this, but I'm going to mention it again. This is for Monteros or whatever, but that's a manual I got. It's in the internet, you can find it. This has some revisions done on the old manual, which I have parts printed from here, which are kind of, I was just cross-checking to make sure that the previous years and the new years will have same kind of specs. Anyhow, so these are the head bolts. It says 108 plus minus 5 Newton metric. I don't know, I can't remember it's just pounds, or not pounds, it's Newton metric something. And then back off, and then it says 108. I usually worked in V8 engines, when you tied it up and that's it, and then maybe you do retightening depending on what kind of bolts you buy. Like you buy ARP, you do it differently, I guess. And anyhow, I don't remember much of that, but basically I didn't know what the back off is, and in the old manual it says 90 degrees, and then it's like, oh, okay, so it is a quarter turn. So basically I went up to 110 nm. I back it off a quarter, and then I tied it up again. Basically pretty easy, just a quarter turn. You lose them all up in order, and then you do it and you tie them up in order, and that's the end of it. I think. Yeah, so basically I did that. So I'm ready to put the bottom pan. So this guy, the sump pump, I think is called. I was trying some clear. I painted and clear coated this to make it look nicer. So now it's all shinier and cleaner. There's no rust. It's all cleaned up. You know, I didn't do the best job because it's an engine, but it looks 100,000 times better than before. And these heads, they were all rusted, if you remember, I think in previous videos. Well, that's how they look like now, with a wire brush and then heather paint. I didn't have black. Actually, I prefer this color than black because black looks like super dull, and I want to see if there is a leak. So it would be very easy to see if there is black here, you know. So yeah, and I clean up the oil pump and all that. I painted it too because this was full painted. I had to clean up all that area for the gases. So I'm going to put basically those pieces: oil pump, sump pump, and what else? Yeah, and whatever goes here, I can't remember. It's somewhere there. The front seal, which covers this area here. The crank seal. So yeah, I had to do a lot of cleanup. The other thing I wanted to show, there is this process. So down here, I don't know if you can see that, but in between the valve and the rocker arm, there is a lash adjuster, which is hydraulic in this engine. And there is a procedure here which is not explained. I mean, it is explained in the old. I'm going to try to find it for you guys. In the old manual, it is not super clear in the old manual if you have to do it or not. No, I think it's here. So I did it because this manual is here. It is. This manual is the revision of the old one. So the old one says if you reuse them and they look fine, whatever, and it's just one page. This one actually goes through a procedure where you take the lash adjuster, that is that thing here, that they go under the rocker arms there, the slide inside here, and basically you put 3 buckets of diesel and you follow this procedure. Basically you put the first one, you know, with a nylon brush, you clean it up, then you put it in the second container upside down and you push this special tool. Well, I use this thing, one of this guys from one of the cans I had. I used one of those, this one that's very long, from a seafoam or whatever. You see, it's really long. I used that to push it because it's plastic, so it would not damage anything inside. There is this little ball inside with a spring, and so you put it upside down. You push this thing like 10 or 50 times. You can actually move the top a little bit, like this, very little, and then you take it out and you just pour all the oil inside of it. So the idea is to clean it out really well. Actually, the diesel gets really dark at the end after you clean it up. And so you do that procedure for all of them, which is a little bit of a pain. You know, and then you keep cleaning it, you follow it. It's very easy to follow. And then you put it on the latest one that is clean, and then you push it down and take all the air out. And so you take all the air out of this chamber here, and it's all and now it's all clean. This ball should move. One of the ones that I have, it was actually fairly loose compared with the rest. I was not going to buy one, so I just cleaned it out really well. I use it, and then you put them back here, which you need a special tool for that. Well, they mention a special tool to hold it, which I don't have. And it was actually a bit of a pain to put them on, but if you're careful, you can put them on. It's a special tool that basically is like like a bracket like this, in in a C shape that goes on top of this. It grabs it from the bottom, and you have a bunch of them, and then you put it on, so you can actually put this down, the rocker arms all down here, because you need to squish this ones like this to fit it. These things have to be pushed. These springs have to push, have to be aligned this way, otherwise they touch this the tube for the spark plug. And anyway, so you need to slide them, because if you put them upside down, you lose all the diesel you put on. So you have to actually move these up, slide them in one by one, then push them down. Hopefully they're not going to move. Then you do this one, then you do that one. So you have to be really careful, because sometimes you lose them, and then you have back to the bucket to fill them up with diesel. Anyways, so you see there is like a little bit of diesel coming out of here because I rotated the engine. That's not a big deal. The idea is that they're filled up with diesel most of the time, and then when you put the engine together, you put the valve cover, you put the engine back, and you make it run, and then the diesel will come out, and oil will go in. And the idea is that you don't they don't have air inside, so they don't make any noise later and so on. So yeah, so I did all that for both heads because it's recommended on the newer manual. The old manual doesn't say so. So I did all that procedure, and now I'm going to start putting the intake and all that. So that's where I'm at. But it's going well. I'm going to have to order a bunch of parts, pulleys that I don't have and so on, but slowly. I'm going to now put the valve covers, put some, assemble the bottom first, and then put some oil in the bottom, assemble the bottom. Then I will pour some oil here, put the valve covers in, so I can keep working at it. You need to lubricate it, because you drop a lot of diesel here, so you don't want that. Have to clean it up really well. I clean up all this too. So anyhow, so it's slowly but surely. Oil pan is in. I put everything together. Sump pump. This is not so tight. Like 39 pounds, I think it is. Yeah, so I have to clean up all that. Put the RTV. It's overflowing this way more than inside the engine, which is what you're supposed to do. I put a little bit too much on the outside, but that's fine. I put the oil pickup and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, this is not on the new manual. The new manuals don't have a sump pump. This is a manual from, I think, I don't know which version it is, but it's an older version. I think it's 98 maybe, 98, the revision for this. And you can see this one has that sump pump, what is it called, intermediate. Number 12 is oil pan upper. So it has an upper and a lower. So this is upper, that's a lower. So this manual has that for the 6G7, but it doesn't have, and it has, and this is part of it too, where it tells you the order to tie the oil pan, which is actually important because there is this 14mm bolts that go all the way through. These very long ones like that. See, so this is attached to the bottom, to the block, and it ties this and that together and sandwiches all together. So it's important that you actually follow the torque. So this has it like 6 bolts, and then you make sure to tie them up, and then you put this on top, and it ties all together. And you can see here, this is the newer manual for 2000, and it doesn't have that upper pan here, and this is the 24 valve, and this is for the 12, which is very different engine. This is for the 24 for the Pajero, and this has a little pump in the bottom. So this is upper, that's lower, but this is like an oil pan. It's pretty big, not the same shape as you can see. And this one doesn't have that either. which is for Pajeros GDI, so I guess it's another version. That one doesn't have it either, which is another, that's the same engine but for another version of Pajeros. So yeah, so you see this is a different piece. Oil pan upper, so that's the upper, tells you the head gasket, and but it's a different bolting pattern. If you compare it to this, it's very, very different. See, very different one side with the other. So this is the old manual. That's a new one. So make sure to find this one. Is in the internet. Is that version? Maybe you will find it by that version. I don't know. But this is you see, is a different. It's a different print, different code. This is for a 98, I think it is. So it matches the engine. So yeah, so it's all bolted in, and I put some pour some oil in it. Put the seals, same thing again. A lot of RTV outside. Yeah, so it's looking pretty good. Now it looks like an engine slowly. So now I'm going to flip it over and start with the intake and all that. I put it all together here. Valve covers are in. That's the name. I had a little bit of problem with the clear coat. I screwed it up, but anyways, it's all dry. It doesn't really matter. These are all painted now. I put the valve cover gasket, which was not sitting well, so I left it for a few days, like 2 days or whatever. And now it's kind of like shaped in flat, and so it's looking good. I painted these guys because they were all rusted. I mean, I'm doing everything looks super nice. It will look really nice, and it may not even run. So I don't know. It's kind of funny. I look some of my friends make fun of me, but anyways, I need to tie this up to the right torque. I just put it tight by hand. So everything is looking good. I need to put the intake now. The intake is in a bucket with diesel, and I need to put these water pipes that they go this way here. And I think I'm going to buy a mesh here, metal mesh that I'm going to put here, so that rats don't get into here, because it was, you will not believe how much rat poo was there. It was just incredible. So I'm going to actually do that. I was going to do it beforehand, but I will put it all together, and then I will put the mesh in between, and that's about it. So that's what I'm going to do. What else? You can see I put a lot of RTV in the last video. It's all dry now, but I put it more on the outside than the inside, so that's why it looks like that. It's a little bit too much, I think. But I didn't have my gun, so I did it by hand, and I squished too much. My arm was really tired after a while, squeezing the RTV, but it's all flat. You know, I could cut these off if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. So it's looking good, so clean and shiny. Put some oil. There's some oil down here, and here I poured a bunch of oil. So now I'm going to put all the rest together, and then I will start from the back here. All the seals are changed and all that, so we are good there. But I'm going to start from the back, and then I will move to the front, and I will do the timing belt and all that, and that will be almost the end of this engine, I think. So I'm quite happy. Well, it needs to run, so, and then I need to put it on the Delica, which is another problem. I need to actually paint the Delica because it has a little bit of rust, and like surface rust. It's not a big deal, but since I know how to treat rust, and I have the tools and all that, I want to put a rust proofing coat on it. So I already degreased it. I need to scratch it a little bit and put the rust proofing thing that I showed you earlier, the gel, and then leave it there for a little bit, pressure wash all that, and then spray the undercoating with that gun over there, which is an undercoating gun, that one there, that one I mean. So then I will I will put the engine after that's all dry. Yeah, and I will put the spark plugs later and the cables and all that once I have the intake and all that in. So yeah, it's looking good. I haven't found any issues yet. Oh, one thing is that the kit I bought, it didn't have the old pickup tube gasket, and it's a gasket. So what happened is that I tried to take it apart and it broke. It was all brittle, and then I realized that I didn't have it, although I have pretty much all the other gasket. But remember that I bought a kit for a Montero Sport, Montero 98, I think. So I decided to just RTV the piece that came off and RTV the base and just put it together. It's not a big deal because it's not under pressure or too much vacuum, and so it's fine. And it's the only thing that I didn't put a brand new gasket on, so it's okay. I'm pretty sure I'm going to need more anyhow. But yeah, that's update, and I will keep you guys updated with the rest if I find any issues. Okay, see you later. Bye.